Welcome to my presentation for the Cultures of Production module at the University of Brighton. The topic I've chosen is the rewards of creative labour and the forms of capital, and this presentation is entitled I Am a Prostitute at the Banquet of Life. Royston de Maurier-Lebec is a well-known local artist and antique dealer. We had an hour's chat about his very interesting life, and I asked him a series of questions in order to analyse his responses as a primary source of investigation of the creative industries. I made a full written and audio transcript. Pierre Bourdieu, a French philosopher, expanded on the Marxist theory of economic capital by adding two further classifications. Firstly, cultural capital, which is investment in education and knowledge, and social capital, which is connections, your network. Both cultural and social capital can, under certain conditions, be converted into economic capital, money and assets. On social capital, Bourdieu said, the volume of the social capital possessed by a given agent thus depends on the size of the network of connections he can effectively mobilise, and on the volume of the capital, economic, cultural, symbolic, possessed in his own right by each of those to whom he is connected. I asked Royston how he goes about finding and securing work. He uses contacts, people I know, and you talk and they say, do you want to put this in this or that? He also said networking is very important. It's the same with everything you do. It's not what you know, it's always who you know. If you've got a contact, you use it. He went on, in this industry, you need to be on the ball about yourself because it's all about self-promotion. If you talk the talk, you're halfway there. And this example is borne out by Bourdieu's theory. The reproduction of social capital presupposes an unceasing effort of sociability, a continuous series of exchanges in which recognition is endlessly affirmed and reaffirmed. Bourdieu further broke down cultural capital into three types. The embodied state, also known as the habitus, which are the ingrained skills and habits. The objectified state, such as the tools or reference books you have in your library, or even the clothes you wear. And the institutionalised state, which represents your education and specialist knowledge. Royston had no formal art training, but always had a passion for painting, his embodied cultural capital. He was and is prolific, and after so long hanging around with other artists and creatives, increasing his social capital, he put himself through a fine art degree as a mature student to increase his institutionalised cultural capital. And there's his quotes there. And Bourdieu said, on this, external wealth converted into an integral part of the person, into a habitus, cannot be translated instantaneously by gift or bequest, parlance or exchange. Now Royston's found a well-paid niche painting formula art. I mean, a new hotel might want 200 paintings for the bedrooms. He'll hand paint them according to the colours specified on the brief. They might say, we need 30 with red and blue in them, 10 with some yellow, 5 more with some triangles and some purple squares. But Royston calls it wallpaper art because, like wallpaper, no one actually looks at it. Not closely anyway, they don't study it. It could be safely argued Royston's priorities lie more in earning money than being remembered as a progressive artist. Economic capital in preference to symbolic capital. Royston's comment on this fits in well with the theory of Eichhoff and Hounschild. Royston says, I know a lot of people, painters and artists, and they say to me, how can you do that? How can you compromise your work? And I say, fuck off, give me the money, that's all I'm interested in. I can think about that when I'm dead. This supports theory that social practices can be interpreted to follow an economic logic of practice that are produced with the primary intention of exchanging the output on a market, as opposed to an artistic logic of practice which are produced with the primary intention of contributing to art as a greater good. Money is the most easily transferable form of economic capital. Royston says money is the most important thing. It's a god. Give me the money. That's all I'm interested in. It's all very well being creative, being good, being fabulous at what you do, but you can't eat a fucking painting. Karl Marx explained the inseparable ties between economic capital and society thus. If money is the bond binding me to human life, binding society to me, connecting me with nature and man, is not money the bond of all bonds? Royston's entire career has been one of highs and lows. This places him in a class described by Guy Standing as the precariat. This is a portmanteau word combining the concept of a precarious existence with the old Marxist word for the working class, the proletariat. And Royston sums it up neatly. One week you got lots of money and the next you got bugger all. I think that's how life happens. Finally, I asked Royston what his legacy might be. A form of symbolic capital. He was dismissive, saying, I don't care. I won't be around. I'll be dead. If the paint falls off the canvas, I don't care. People, I'm sure, will paint over them or something will happen to them. I don't keep anything. I just give it away. And again, this ties in with Bourdieu's theory on the limitations of acquiring cultural capital. Cultural capital cannot be accumulated beyond the appropriating capacities of an individual agent. It declines and dies with the bearer, with his biological capacity, his memory, etc. So the last words to Royston, summing up his life, and to which I will return for the second part of this assignment later in the semester. I am a prostitute at the banquet of life. Thanks for watching, and here are the references and bibliography. The end.